How's it going, everyone? VenomousStare here, back with part 3 of the Venomous Classic. This is an ongoing series I do where I find old, excellent games of StarCraft 2 and cast over them. Oftentimes, I specifically pick games that have legendary players or games that had significant impact within the StarCraft 2 scene. This time we have Game 3 of a BWC match, BWC America 2012 StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, between two extremely good American players, two of my personal favorites. Greg IdrA Fields, the blue macro Zerg on the left, going for hatchery first, and Vibe on the right, who once again will be going for an early pool build. Now, if you haven't seen this series, the games, of course, will be on my channel. Go watch games 1 and 2. Game 1, Roach, Hydra, Infester, beautiful game. IdrA took it. Classic IdrA macro. Didn't do anything fancy, just really crushed his opponent with macro. Game 2, both players opened with aggressive early pools. IdrA plays more defensive, tries a follow-up counterattack, doesn't really work out. Vibe takes lots of intelligent little advantages throughout the mid-game. Those advantages build up into a big late-game advantage, and Vibe crushes IdrA with his macro that game. So what do we see this game? Well, IdrA's gone hatchery first, and the moment of dismay when he sees those lings. So back in the day, ZVZ was very focused around these three builds: early pool, 15 pool, and hatch first. Early pool counters hatch first. Vibe did early pool, IdrA did hatch first. So the reason that this counters is because Vibe will get all of his lings over to IdrA's base before IdrA's pool even finishes. So look in the production tab. Vibe has lings already in IdrA's base. He's going to be able to make Banes in about 2 seconds. And just right now, IdrA can make lings. Just right at this moment. And there come the lings. But Vibe has this incredible, valuable seconds where he can poke and prod at IdrA when IdrA can't do anything. And Vibe can also make banelings against IdrA. And IdrA's pool just finished. He's nowhere close to a baneling nest. So here come the Banes. Vibe is going to make 2 banelings, 2 more on the way. He's going to run them up the ramp. This is very hard to micro against. IdrA needs to split his drones. And here come the Banes. The Banes are running around. They want to get good shots off. They don't want to be wasted. And they're continuously being microed around by Vibe, and IdrA's taking some drone losses just to the lings, but has spread out nicely. He's not going to take a big Bane shot, and suddenly the supplies are relatively even. IdrA's still ahead in workers, but IdrA might be clumping up his drones here. Oh no, many of the drones are low. IdrA has to split. He loses a couple more drones. Every drone matters here. This is so important as the other Bane goes off, and we see that Vibe is currently ahead in workers by 1. They're essentially tied. But IdrA does have this extra base. So IdrA with some nice early game defense there. He wouldn't really let Vibe commit to killing a lot of drones with those 2 banelings, and that's the key to holding off early game baneling all-ins or aggression. So IdrA is going to move across the map here and see what he can find. Now this is relatively dangerous because he knows Vibe has baneling tech. He also knows Vibe's probably going ling speed. But he gets a little bit of scouting information, and his Overlord is over Vibe's natural. He knows that Vibe, ooh, bad Bane shot there, as Vibe actually trades pretty much ideally. And suddenly IdrA has about the same number of lings as Vibe, but once again, the speed is basically going to be the crux of the issue. Because once again, IdrA has not even started ling speed. He does not have the drones to be mining gas, so he has them all dedicated to minerals. IdrA also used one of his valuable drones to make a spine, so IdrA is actually further behind in workers now than he was. So even though IdrA had an extra base, the fact that he made all those lings meant that he's actually not really that far ahead, or ahead at all. So here Vibe, he's going to try to defend with his queen, but here goes the speed. That's what I was talking about. He delayed so long, and suddenly all of IdrA's units were caught across the map, and IdrA might be screwed. Because right now, IdrA does have a spine, big freaking deal. It's Antigua Shipyard, very wide open map. IdrA's going to be able to really not be able to defend very much here because Vibe can run around the spine. Oh, actually, IdrA's walled off at the bottom here with some lings and queens. Nice. He does not want to lose to these Lings, but Vibe can just make drones at home, and he has a severe tech advantage. The real advantage here is the Ling speed and the Baneling nest. That's really what's winning the game for Vibe, and we can see that despite the fact that IdrA had more Lings, wow, that Speedling really paid off, because once you get Speedling, it's essentially like each one of your Zerglings becomes 2 Zerglings or something because of how powerful it is. Here comes the Bane. IdrA's trying with everything he can to hold it off, but he knows that he's behind in tech, he's behind in workers. Vibe can just run him around infinitely, and this is IdrA. He's going to get a little bit steamed here and leave, it appears, because Vibe can just run him around in circles infinitely. Ling speed not even on the way, so Vibe is actually going to take this best of 3, guys. There's no way IdrA can defend this, because Vibe can just infinitely run him around with his Speedling. But IdrA is going to stay in the game. It is a best of 3, mind you, so game 3 here. IdrA doesn't want to leave early. Both players are even in workers, but like I said, this Baneling discrepancy and the Ling speed discrepancy is going to be a hard thing to survive. And remember, IdrA, no Bane Nest, can't defend against Mass Ling, and doesn't have enough drones to produce Lings, and once again, Vibe can just run him around with impunity because of the Ling speed. He's even going to make 2 Banes at the top of IdrA's base. And this has been a Venomous Classic, as we see IdrA's going after the Lings here in a last-ditch effort to defend, but Vibe has just killed too many workers for the macro machine to win the game. Great micro by Vibe. He went for an early game build, but then really followed it up with some nice micro after IdrA did a relatively good job not losing drones to Banes. But this is what I was talking about. Vibe can constantly needle and torment the macro machine. 20 workers dead. And honestly, knowing IdrA, he might just type out, there it is, subscribe for more.